What was this episode, guys? What the hell did you guys got me watching? I see why on my community poll the other day, you guys really wanted Mushoku Tensei first, huh? Oh, man. What a degenerate episode, but you know, I'm always here for them. Two quick things before we get into our video today. One is the fact that this episode feels more controversial than last week's, but notice how you're not hearing anyone say anything about this week, huh? Funny how that happens. But two is the fact that we really see Sylphie in this episode kind of struggling to decide whether she wants to tell Rudeus who she really is or not. And I assume it's because she's afraid that Rudy might still not recognize her after knowing who she really is, and that would terrify her. I assume that's the reason why, but I still kind of find it interesting that she'd be struggling so much on that. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. But that's what we do in reviews. So let's hop right in and talk about Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 7 today. So as our episode begins, it actually parallels last week as we see Sylphie's morning routine this time, as we just hear, "My day starts by running around Shara, the city of magic, until I feel like I can't run anymore. It helps me to learn the layouts of the streets and to always be aware of my limits. No one taught me this routine, but it's what I think Rudy might do in my shoes." As Rudeus just casually runs on by and they just barely miss each other. Something this show loves to do, I might add. Season 1. Lessons are boring. Mostly I reread of things I learned from Rudy. They show me just how much he really knew about magic. Her Highness is very eager to learn. I think I prefer dedicated, positive people like her. Maybe I have Rudy to thank for that too. And it's here as we transition to later that night, we see that she literally just cannot stop thinking of Rudy. As she says, "I feel like he's been the only thing on my mind lately. What do I want us to be to each other?" But immediately upon thinking about that question, she instantly knows what she wants them to be. As we see that she's a little bit conflicted. And again, like I said in the intro, I'd like to think that she could just tell Rudeus. Like, I'd like to give him some credit and think that he would recognize her at that point, or he'd be kind of stupid, but I don't know, it's fear holding her back, which I get, but I don't know. I feel like she could probably tell him, but she's afraid to do so. It's here as we transition to our next scene. It's time to see what Rudy's been up to, as we just hear, "A month has passed since Julie arrived. I assigned her training exercises as an experiment. I let her use one incantation to start the day, then have her focus on conjuring lumps of clay without speaking. Zenoba over here seems to think she won't learn silent spellcasting this way. But she pulled it off in just 1 month. Julie is a very smart girl. I thought Zenoba just had figures for a brain, but he's taking great care of her. Most slaves are branded or marked with special spells that they can't escape. Julie isn't a slave, though. She's my apprentice, and Zenoba's junior disciple." I do think it's kind of funny that they have to add this scene in, guys, because of last week, just to tell people that no, she's not a slave. She's not doing anything bad, guys. I promise. She's learning from them, actually. I think it's kind of funny they have to put that in, but at the same time, it is nice that she's doing good and she's learning from them, obviously. And she's just a member of the crew now. I like that a lot. Good for Julie. But of course, guys, in life, whenever something good happens, tragedy will strike soon after. And our next scene is a tragic one indeed, as we transition to Zenoba teaching Julie about Rudeus's wondrous, amazing art. As he shows off the Rudred figure from Season 1 that is as impressive as it's ever been. As Rudy, seeing this, says, "That reminds me, what happened to that Roxy figure?" And it's here, Zenoba felt true terror for the first time. as he tries to tell Rudy that he left it back in Sharon, but he knows it's a lie, as Rudius damn near forces him to get the figure out. And as we look inside the box, it's truly tragic indeed, as the figure has been shattered into pieces. As Rudy says, "Explain yourself, Zenoba." And I think it's hilarious how we literally see Julie come from behind Rudius and creep her way behind Zenoba, because she knows the fury that's coming, because Rudy is pissed, big heated, as he says, "Don't tell me you're insulting Roxy. Are you actually my enemy?" As Zenoba says, "Yeah, I fought a duel and, well..." As he explains further, saying, "Lenia and Persena challenged me in my first year here. We each wagered something precious to us. And well, you know the rest." As he just starts crying his eyes out right here. It's kind of sad. As even Julie's got to be like, "They're there now." Our boy Rudy, on the other hand, though, not feeling as kind, as he tells him, "If that's the case, you should have told me sooner. I would never have played the fool with them if you had." As Rudy swears to himself that, they'll pay. They'll pay all right. As he tells them all, "Let's teach them a lesson." And as we transition to our next scene, we transition to a Texas standoff, as they quite literally pull up on the two of them right here. As Persena immediately says, "Smells like they're spoiling for a fight." As Lenia says, "Zenoba, aren't you ashamed of yourself? Meow. If you wanted payback, you should have left the scrawny first year out of it. Meow." But as he ignores her, she tells him, "All right, I guess you want your other doll smashed too. Meow." And at this point, Rudius just tells Zenoba, "Hold my beer, man. I'm gonna flame these girls." As he tells Zenoba, "You got nothing to be embarrassed for. They should be embarrassed for always ganging up on you and people. It's practically a declaration that they can't do anything alone." As Lenny is just like, "All right, new guy. We'd have left you alone if you'd stayed in your corner. But too much tough talk will get you killed. Meow." But it's here our boy Rudy's just like, "Meow, meow, meow. Can't you beasts even speak decent human?" Which sounds like a super racist thing to say, by the way. Kind of messed up. But it works like a charm. And it's here our fight begins. Because as Lenia charges him here, Rudius just makes the lightest of work possible out of her. Like, good lord. Embarrassingly defeated. And it's here Zenoba's chasing Persena around. Rudius just makes a little mudslide where she is. She trips, and he knocks her out with a freaking pebble. And as Julie comes out of hiding, they literally hog tie them right here. And with that, our fight is very long over. And it's here as we transition to our next scene. I'd argue this is kind of wild, guys, as we literally see that he tied them up and put gags in their mouths. As Rudy grabs Persena's chest and says, "It feels nice, but it ain't really doing nothing for me. I await my newborn son's first cry of joy, but I hear silence still." I guess we're not fixing it that way, guys. Kind of happy for her, honestly. As Rudy says, "It was just a little experiment. Don't worry about it." And as he takes the gag out of Persena's mouth, he asks her, "Do you two understand why you're in this predicament?" As she literally tells him, "No, we haven't done anything to you." And Rudy's like, "Oh, really? You haven't done anything, you say?" As they show them the figure and he says, "You did that though, didn't you? You see, that figure is modeled on my goddess. Thanks to her aid, I was able to experience the world. That's why I keep her panties in a fucking shrine. And that figure is the very likeliness of my deity. And you smashed it to pieces." As they literally look over at Julie and Zenoba shaking in their boots and realize, oh, we fucked up. And as Rudius asks them if they have anything to say for themselves for this heinous act, immediately, instantaneously, Prasenna's like, I didn't do it. It was Lenia. As Lenia is just like, you bitch. And as Rudius ungags her, she says, you said it was creepy, that you didn't want it. Meow. And in tears, they both just hurl insults and blame at each other. Rudy says, shut up, you're both guilty. And the guilty must be punished. And it's here Lenia realizing that, oh no, he's fucking serious. She says, if you try anything funny with us, my dad and grandpa will have something to say about it. Meow. As Rudy's just like, oh, you mean Gaius? That reminds me of the time he falsely accused me of a crime. Oh, he claimed I was improper with the sacred beast, so I was stripped naked, doused with water, and thrown in a prison cell. Shall I do the same to you? And it's here our prisoners crack. As Prasenna says, I literally don't care what happens to Lenia, but please spare me. Just friend of the year right here, guys. Just easily. But it's here. Rudy's had enough of the games, guys, as he says, if you want my forgiveness, put the figure back together like it was. As literally everyone here starts cheering for Roxy. As Zenoba says, yeah, you harlots, not even my master can repair this. But it's here, hearing that, Rudy just thinks, wait, what? No, I could totally fix this. As he thinks, yeah, I could probably fix this statue whenever I want, honestly. Which gets him thinking that, you know, what really should I do to these two, jokes aside? And as we transition to our next scene, we get the answer to that. As he literally asked Sylphie, or I should say, Fitz, what to do in this situation. And her takeaway is what any normal person's takeaway would be. She says, wait a minute. You and Zenoba locked up these girls? As Rudy's just like, oh, they're just in my room. Don't worry, I didn't do anything sexual to them. Well, I groped their breasts, but that's all, I promise. As Sylphie's just like, okay, sure, why not? Very acceptingly. But now it's time to get down to business, as Rudius says. I want to teach them a lesson that will satisfy me, but won't leave them holding a grudge or seeking revenge. That would suck. As Sylphie says, I know just the thing. But it's here as we transition to our next scene. I gotta be real. This little bit was taken a little farther than I thought it would be, as they stumble upon them, and we see that they've literally wet themselves sitting there. They've been there for what, maybe a day? That's wild. As Lenia says, do your worst. Meow. As Prasenna's like, yo, I'll be good, so please, just feed me. I won't howl at night, I promise. I want meat. I'm starving here. Even Sylphie's like, alright, this might be a bit much at this point. So it's here we see that they do untie them, and they do clean their clothes, I would hope. As Lenia tells them, look, I'll do whatever you say, but nothing that'd make babies. Meow. Which I'm sure Sylphie loves to hear. But Prasenna adds, you can touch Lenia's boobs every once in a while. I'm cool with that. Truly friend of the year again. But it's here all of a sudden, we just hear, you don't sound sorry enough. As we see that Sylphie's ready to say her piece. But it's here as they brush off Sylphie. Rudy's like, no, you sit. And of course they sit. As you just like, lay into him, Fitz. As we see that her plan involves drawing marks on their faces. Pretty wild ones at that, I gotta admit. As she says, a certain tribe uses this paint to mark their bodies. And the right incantation will make it permanent. If you don't listen to Rudius, I'll cast the spell and tattoo you for life. Sylphie is about that life. As they immediately understand. As she adds, keep your faces like that all day tomorrow, and then I'll remove the paint. That would suck, guys. Just imagine having to go around school with that on your face. That shit would suck. They better show us in next week's episode, even if it's one little scene. We've earned that, damn it. And as those two leave, it's just Sylphie and Rudy now, as she tells him, "You're sorry about that. I kind of got carried away." As Rudy tells her, "Nah, you didn't." Then adds, "But you did mention a special incantation. Won't they kind of be in trouble if everyone finds out about that?" As she's just like, "Yeah, that was a lie. That's just cheap paint for magic circles." Sylphie has become devious in these couple years, guys. I like a lot. But it's here she suddenly notices his shrine as she says, "I've been wondering, what is that?" As Rudy's like, "Oh, I keep a holy relic of my faith in there." But as she tries to look inside, he immediately stops her, which is probably the smartest thing he's done in his life. As he tells her, "Feel free to look literally anywhere else." And it's here she's looking around his room, investigating, really kind of snooping, low-key. She tries this pillow of his that he has by literally laying on his bed. And it's here Rudy says that, "Man, he even keeps his shades on when he lies down, huh? What would happen if I reached over and took them off?" And it's here Sylphie, realizing what he's doing, tells him flat out, "You want to see? My whole face, that is." As Rudy tells her, "Yeah, I do." And it's here right before she's about to do it. She hesitates again and tells him, "I'm just kidding, by the way. Sorry about that. I'm under Ariel's orders not to." A bold-faced lie. As Rudy says, "I won't try to force you if you can't." And it's here because things just got awkward, she literally hightails it out of there right now. It's a pretty awkward exit, honestly. But then when he's alone, Rudy thinks to himself, what would have happened if I had seen Fitz's face just now? For some reason, I feel like there would be no turning back. And with that, our very quirky episode ends. I don't even know what to really say about this episode, guys. To be honest with you, it was pretty damn goofy. But I'm here for that, This is a fun episode. Because I 100% know that this series is gonna take a turn. It's gotta be somewhat soon. It has to be. I just feel it in my gut that things are gonna get real soon. So I'm happy with episodes like this while we still can. True calm before the storm. And we can't have a crime like this go unpunished. No. Unacceptable. So Rudius was completely in his right here to do what he did. Obviously. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode down in the comments. But until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time.